How's it going? This is Hoiman, and today we're taking a look at the pop-up parade Amaterasu figure. So for the packaging, you have a really nice window display to see pretty much the whole figure inside. And you can pretty much see the whole figure from pretty much all the angles, so both sides, the top, and then the bottom you have the pop-up parade logo. And I do like the fact that the background you do have the nice kind of Japanese art style from the game, so that's a nice touch. And then on the back, just some information and some legal stuff. And then the bottom is just the barcode. So overall it's a nice box, but I do feel that it's a bit big considering how small the figure is. It does seem to be a bit oversized for the packaging, but it's nothing too major. So to open the box, you just lift open the top flap. And then just remove the front cover. And there's the figure all together with her accessories. So first you do get some instructions just showing what the figure comes with and how to put the figure together. So here's the actual figure, and overall this is a great sculpt of Amaterasu. I feel that they've definitely captured all the details and lightness of the character really well. Just overall very impressive sculpt and very nice looking figure overall. So taking a closer look at the face, they've definitely captured the likeness of Amaterasu. Looks just like her from pretty much all angles. And then the red patterns on her are painted on pretty well for the most part. Same for the eyes and the nose and mouth. And then you move down to her neck, you see all the sculpt work of her fur in the neck. Extends all the way down to the front. Looks very nice and realistic. And again, these red patterns are painted on pretty good for the most part. And that extends to the rest of her body as well. And then of course you have the really nice swirls on her arms here. Very well sculpted. All the lines are actually sculpted in as well. So it's a nice detail and definition there, and that's the same for the other arm. Then down to the actual legs, the fur continues down here as well, and then again you have the nice swirls and the black lines. And then the feet are well sculpted as well. You can even see some muscle definition as well, and then some fur and the stripes as well. And then for the paws underneath, really well sculpted, so they're actually all sculpted in there as well. And then moving on to her back, so all the nice fur texture continues down to her hind legs. Looks very nice, has a lot of motion in them. And then you move to the tail, really well sculpted, definitely captures the lightness of a paintbrush. And again, all the definition of the lines are sculpted in. And it even has a nice fading of white to the black for the tip. Looks very nice and effective. And then for her hind legs, the fur texture continues along with the muscle definition. And then again, you have these nice swirls at the end. And the feet are well sculpted as well. And then moving to the actual sun weapon. I can't remember what it's called, but it's the main weapon in the game. So this actually is one solid piece and it looks really nice. So the actual disc inside has a nice metallic finish. You can see all the sculpt work of the patterns and detail as well. Whereas the flames are actually translucent plastic that merges from yellow and fades to red for the tips. It looks really nice and effective, and these are connected onto the fur parts of the arm, so it gives the illusion that it's actually floating on her back. And you can see how the sun kind of reflects through the orange and it transfers to her back. So it's a really nice effect going on. And then the underneath of the disc is just the kind of metallic silver. So overall it looks really nice. So in terms of sculpt, they've definitely captured the lightness of the character really well. Just lots of detail going on. But that's the figure. Let's take a look at the accessories. So first you get Issun. Nice sculpt. It's all in molded in a nice translucent green plastic. And what's cool is that you can actually see Issun inside there. So it's a really nice attention to detail there. And then this just slots into the groove on the flame here. So you just carefully line it up and then just attach it like so. And then finally she also comes with this display base. It looks okay. It's got quite a nice sculpt to it and it's got a nice translucent green, but it is a bit plain. And the fact that it has the copyright here does make it stand out quite a bit. But nonetheless, it does work. So my final thoughts are, considering that this is my first pop-up parade figure, I have to say, I think overall I'm not super impressed. Like, throughout this whole video, I have been saying that this figure does look nice, and overall, she does look nice. She has a nice sculpt, definitely captures the lightness of the character, and there's just a lot of movement going on, and the fact that all this translucent flames adds a really nice touch to the overall figure, but I do have quite a few gripes with it. The biggest gripe I have with the figure is probably the paintwork. So the whole figure is painted in a nice matte white finish, so that looks nice, but there isn't really any shading at all in the white. It's just one solid white color. So it would have been nice if there was some shading in the muscle definitions and between the fur, just to kind of bring out the details a little bit more. But my biggest gripe is with all the reds and whites. So on the red, yes, they are painted clean for the most part, but they are quite sloppy in quite a lot of areas. So here there's a whole chunk of red missing, bits of red missing throughout the red, and then some of it is quite sloppy and not that clean. And then that's the same for these red parts as well. And then on the top of her head, there's a lot of odd marks on her forehead here that really just, I don't know how that happened. It doesn't seem like it's any color that's actually meant to be on the figure, so I'm not too sure why that's the case. And then the black lines as well, some of them are quite sloppy and just not that clean for the most part. And that's the same down here as well. And then on the paws especially, so you can see how each part of the paw is sculpted in for where they painted the black. But some of them, the black doesn't even reach all the way to the edge. So you can see how this black part of the paw is a lot smaller than this one. And that's the same for this case. You can even see that this is off-centered from the actual sculpt. And then this one's a lot bigger than this one as well. And then you have slops overall here as well. And then you have the black kind of line here for the elbow part. And that's the same for here and here as well. But this one is quite a bit longer than this one. And for whatever reason, there isn't a black line here at all. So it makes me feel that, are there meant to be black lines here? Or is it just this one that's missing? So it's a bit of a quality thing there, it seems. And then moving to Issun, although it does look nice having him float here, I think it would be nice if this part of the stem was a different color. If it was transparent that faded into green, it would kind of give the better illusion that it's actually floating, because At the moment, because it's all solid green, it looks like it's just attached to the flame rather than actually be floating above. That's a very minor gripe, but it's just something I thought I'd point out. And then on the back of Issun, there's a bit of a scratch mark as well, so it makes it difficult to see Issun. And then moving on to the base, like I already said, it's quite a simple base, and it doesn't really seem to reflect anything from the game itself. It's just the green base, and the fact that it doesn't have any pegs as well to attach the figure, it just feels, I don't know, it just feels a bit incomplete. Like the figure can just move around on the base, however, like so. There's no real any attachment. And like I said, the copyright on the base does really stand out. It would have been nice if it had like Amaterasu name or something like that, or just like some grass or fields to kind of represent the world from the game a bit. So overall, my final thoughts, for me personally, I always wanted to get an Amaterasu figure. I'm not the biggest fan of the game itself, but I do like the character, and I've always been a fan of her design. And I've always wanted a figure of her, but the first full figures figure was always a bit too pricey and a bit too big, so I've always waited for a cheaper alternative and also a bit of a smaller figure, and that's where this pop-up parade comes in. And overall, I am happy with the figure, but like I said, I do have quite a few gripes with the figure, and there are definitely some quality control issues here and there. But if you are a fan of this character and you want a cheaper alternative to the first full figures Amaterasu, then this is definitely a good choice. And it's also one of the only choices as well as of this video. So again, if you're a massive fan of this character or the games, I can still recommend this figure, but just keep in mind of the potential flaws that I've mentioned with this figure. But that's my review. Thank you for watching and enjoy some pictures.